Hello folks, welcome back to the UK Games Expo live stream. I have Kate, she's still here with me, keeping me company. How you doing, Kate? Still all right?
Very well, all good, thanks, Mill. Better for a bit of pineapple and tea as an intermediate snack.
I've got my tea, I've got my brew. And then we're joined by Richard, UK Games Expo Director.
I've also got my tea.
Nice.
Yes, it's a nice chat, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all
Brews
good.
all round, yeah, gosh. Why is it so cold in May?
Fantastic.
What's going on there? I don't get it.
It's rubbish. I don't want it. I like the tropical weather from last year. I think I'm essentially either a lizard or part plant. I would like that to continue, please.
Yes,
Is
me
it
too.
ne'er cast a clout till May is out, or whatever
Yes.
the saying is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one.
But I don't have a clout on me at the moment, so
See, I had that and I looked it up because it didn't really seem to make any sense because it says it's basically take off not a clout until May is out. But actually, it's don't take anything off until the May is out, as in the May bush flowering. So it was one of those ways you'd be able to determine that it had been warm enough for long enough. You're less likely to catch a cold. So you're using
it was very
plants as
educational,
as
this
your
stream,
little-
isn't it? So, so
I know. Got my brew.
Oh dear.
I'm don't ask
No.
me, I'm just the producer. One of those moments. We have a lot of folks in chat who've come along to say hi because some very exciting things were announced very recently, and it's great to have a chat with you, Richard, about all those very exciting things.
yes, well, basically we're running a show in however many weeks' time at the end of July.
79 days.
79
29
days.
days, 30th July
Yep.
to 1st of August. We are on. We are coming. We're going to be doing it. Well, we've got to build a show in what normally would take 10 months to do in about 10 weeks. But we did that last year for Virtually Expo, so we've got it covered.
I mean, you are slightly joking there because I know there have been stages of plans in place.
Yes.
Before
yes,
now,
and-
we're not just like making an
No,
expo.
of course. I mean, we've had multiple plans. Whenever I can get them on the screen, I show on the maps and plans and things. But yes, they're. I'm not going to show them today because, as ever, they're all still in great state of flux. But we've gone from all sorts of things through this winter, haven't we? Of not knowing where we are, having postponed from May to last August, having cancelled in August and made a virtual show, having got ourselves in for June this year, and all the way along there's been different changes of plans and halls, and at one point I was mapping out the other side of the NEC. So yes, it's been a sort of a bit of a roller coaster of a ride, but basically we are set for halls 2 and 3. We're set for those dates. The plans are coming together. It's like the A team here.
Yes. It was really nice
Good to
actually
go.
this week because we were all back in the office ahead of the tickets being launched. And one of the amazing things is because Richard has had all of these plans of if this we do this, if with this we do that, if this we do the other. One of the great pleasures, he walked up to his board and crossed off everything other than a live show this date. See what happens.
Absolutely.
And very, very cool, very exciting.
It's good. It's good. I am excited that both in a jubilant way and also a slightly terrified way because 79 days is very soon. Very
Indeed,
soon.
indeed.
Yes.
So
But, to make anything happen, you need a plan and not enough time, is what they say. Isn't it?
yes.
So that's where we are.
So we are doing a physical show, which means what for like the virtual side of things? What's going to happen with that?
With the virtual elements, you mean? Or-
Yeah. So are on tabletop coming? Are we still going to?
Yeah. So we won't be doing a virtual show in the sense of Virtually Expo. But what we will be doing is streaming. There'll be streamed content coming from the show. So that's your on tabletop. We'll be broadcasting. So what they're doing is sending over. I think it's 4 people who are going to roam the halls. They're going to video, and they'll be streaming out content during the show that'll take over the homepage. I think most likely, so there will be some of that going out, sort of, so people to be able to see what's happening. But our emphasis is very much upon a physical show this year. We want people to be there at the NEC, having a safe show and enjoying being together for the first time in 1-2 years for Expo.
Yes,
and in fact,
very much.
sort of
Very
like
much
15
bringing
months,
people together, isn't it? That's the whole
Yeah,
shtick.
that's the emphasis. Yeah.
All right. So with us talking about bringing people together and getting together, are we going to have much open gaming this year. What's that gonna look like?
Absolutely. I mean, huge amounts of, as ever, really. I mean, we always say we have more open gaming than pretty much any show in Europe, certainly, and I think probably the world, to be honest, because when you go to the big other conventions, they don't tend to have anything that you could call specifically open gaming space. In the UK, we've got a certain amount of shows that do that. There's some sort of friendly shows like Aircon and stuff. Dragon Meet do have areas, and certainly quite a lot of that. But simply because of the size of the show, Expo has just loads more chairs and tables of it. And this year, we are going to have, the hall 3 is going to be the gaming hall, and we'll have hundreds of tables and chairs and things in there for people to sit down and play open gaming, with a board game library that you can borrow games from as well, and also you can take your own games along and play them, or go and buy them from the exhibitors.
Hall 3, for those of us who aren't as intimate with the maps of the NEC as perhaps yourself are. Which one is that? Is that one we used for the tournaments?
We've actually not used Hall 3 itself before. We've had Halls 1 and 2 and Hall 3A, if you recall.
Oh, yeah.
So Hall 3 is actually capable of being split into 2 bits, of the Hall 3 main and then Hall 3A. We've used Hall 3A and had that as a separate hall in previous years. The original plans for what would have been last year's show were to use Halls 1, 2 and 3. We've got Hall 2 and 3 for this year's show, 2021. We're back in all 3 halls again from next year. So it's a new hall from the point of view of the visitors, but it's basically between Hall 2 and Hall 3. So Hall 3A that people have been used to being in before. So, and it will be immediately adjacent. So you can walk from the trade hall, which will be Hall 2, into the gaming hall and back again. And I think probably we will close off the trade obviously at night time, but the gaming will go on in the gaming hall.
Nice.
To give you an idea of scale on this to anyone who hasn't been to the NEC, and because it's often difficult, so Hall 3, the floor space is 10,610 square meters of space.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is pretty big.
Yes, it
so
is.
that's over 10,500 square meters of space for games, gaming, open gaming, playing. It's,
yes, and Hall 2 is about 11,000, which is they're both sizable spaces. This is going to be lots of room for gaming. That would not be a problem. And the current maps and plans that we've got allow for spacing and distance in between, a certain amount of spacing out of tables. We've sort of taken a preliminary view of a rule of 6 kind of understanding of how likely it is. You can sit down at a pub from next Monday to eat a meal, and obviously from next Monday we could all sit around a table and play a game in a house. So the rules are going to be at least that, aren't they, from going forward into the show. So but we will put more spacing in between the tables to make it area and ventilated and easy to move around. That would be the idea.
All right, so we're already thinking about these kind of things. When you put the tickets live and we announced all that kind of stuff, we also mentioned a few of the steps that we were going to take. What are these like precautions? These things to help us play. What are they based on? What are we thinking about here?
Okay, so where we've taken things from is currently the event research program is running. They're running events all over the country. People may have seen the rock concerts and the gigs and the things going on in Liverpool last weekend, the snooker in Sheffield, things like the Brit Awards, which was on last night. And in none of these cases have they used social distancing. What they've used is lateral flow tests for people before you go to the show. So the idea is you've been tested, you've not got the virus. It is safe then to proceed in an environment where you can have more people. However, what we don't know is what the rules are going to be in whatever it is, 70 something days time. That is going to be published we expect some point early in June. Okay. So at that point, we will know what the rules are. And at that stage, we will reevaluate where we are and we will republish a set of rules from this is what we're looking at the moment to this is what's going to happen. Because at that point, we'll be able to say what's going to happen. But what we decided to do is start from the baseline of saying, if we had to run the show today, this is how it would work. Because them's the rules. And if those rules don't change, that's what we will be doing. But the expectation is pretty obvious as we've gone down the path of this roadmap, that things do change. Yeah, the rules change. The government evaluates things and says, right, now you can do this, you can't do that. Okay. So things we're waiting on those rules to be definitive before we publish them. Really.
Okay. So it's been asked by a couple of folks, and it's worth just checking in. Like, why don't we wait until those rules are published? Are we jumping ahead, or are we...
Well, the simple a show like the size of the Expo, as I mentioned earlier on, it normally takes about 10 months to plan such a thing. You can't wait until if we reach the stage of the 21st of June and we've not had conversations and put plans in place, we're not having a show at the end of July. Right. Simple as that. So what you have to do is you have to start from somewhere and say, here is a set of rules. Here are events that we think that we are confident we can run safely. And we're doing things this way, and then we could plan with that. And it's a lot easier to adapt and amend plans than it is to start from scratch and have no plans and then try and throw it all together in a few weeks. There are just so many conversations to be had with so many people, and waiting until that point in time just isn't feasible, So that's why we re-released the set right now,
Yeah, right. Okay. So that, and then also, like, with the exhibitors, like, we wouldn't be able to put a show together in a month. Would the exhibitors just lose?
Well, it's the same with them, isn't it? I mean, a lot of the exhibitors. Exhibitors are all sorts of different ones. Of course, there's an awful lot of them that are internationals, and the travel rules are in place now, which is going to make it very difficult for an awful lot of international companies to travel. That might change. It's been reviewed, but the expectation is that what we're going to be seeing is a show very heavily UK based this particular year, but not entirely. There are international companies that have got UK partners and representatives and people, even and some of them just live here anyway, who don't have to worry about quarantining when they get in from an amber country, that kind of thing. But yes, the exhibitors have to make plans, and one of those plans is, can they simply get here in the first place? But assuming that they're on for that and they're in, and a lot of the smaller, medium-sized, and the independent companies that have been with us since the very beginnings of Expo are on board and actually sort of energetically enthusiastic, shall we say, along with a lot of the companies that have come and joined the event as the years have gone by. But they need time. They need time to plan those things. They need to look at the floor plan and sit down and think, okay, how are we going to do this? And let's assume for the moment we have to deliver a demonstration. How do we do that safely? Now we're hoping the rules are going to allow fairly easy demonstrating without too many restrictions. But if you had to do it with certain restrictions in place, how would you do that? And you sit down as a company, as a publisher, and think about that. They need the time to do that.
So everyone looks at a worst case scenario. So us, the exhibitors, everything else. And then as things ease, as things become better. So firstly, from the 17th of May, there'll be changes. And then again on the 21st of June, what'll happen after that is that we'll know a bit more. So we'd love to answer everyone's questions of, but what about if I do this? And what about if I do that? It's like, we don't know. We are absolutely following the guidance of Public Health England because we want this to be a safe show.
Yes,
Each year we have safety measures and we have a huge list of them and a whole page dedicated to them. And most people aren't bothered. But this year, people are very keen and understandably so. We want people to be confident to be able to play the games. So that's why we've kind of got the kind of play with confidence. That's the whole shtick with this.
Cool. I like it. It's an awkward time, but you've got to do the most diligent bits of everything. And I think it's reassuring to understand that as the event research program puts out more data, like originally we'll start with everybody's 7 meters apart and a absorbing bubble in it. And as the data comes out, we'll now be 3 meters apart and masks. But we can't answer that until the research is done.
No, we need to wait on those things. And sometimes we do sound a little bit like a sort of broken record where we keep posting on Twitter and Facebook. You know, we've got to wait for the ERP, we've got to wait for Public Health England, but it's just that's the situation that we are in. We will follow Public Health England's rules and regulations as we always do. As Kate says, we have acres of paperwork we have to submit to the NEC every year, risk assessments and all of that kind of thing, and people normally just don't really care about that. But this year the same things have to be done, but to fill those papers to make those plans, we need to know what the rules are that we're operating under. So once we know them, we'll publish them.
Okay, so we're working on a plan, and it's going to be updated according to Public Health England, and we're going to take all the measures that they say, and knowing yourself and Tony, probably a little bit more.
Yes, we're not going to take risks and things. With no point in doing a show where people are going to come along and get ill. You know, we're running this because we know the data at the moment is showing that the COVID levels are low. Thankfully now the hospitalisations and deaths and things are really low comparative to where we were back in January, hugely down. The vaccination program has been phenomenally successful and is rolling out at a rate of knots. And I think all of that taken together with a sensible plan put into place, we believe that the show is going to be as safe as you can get, really. I mean, to be honest, you go to the supermarket and you don't have to, do certain things. People are sort of reaching over you to get the bread from the shelf, and they're certainly not keeping distances, are they? So, you go there, or you go to other places like the pub from next Monday. We think our the NEC, which is big spaces, lots of open. Big aisles, 4 metre aisles, not 3 metre aisles, huge roof, well ventilated, lots of light. I personally think this is going to be safer than going down to the Rose and Crown for a pint when it's when it's crowded. Yeah.
And the NEC have got cool things going on. So they've put in hundreds. I think there's over 600 hand sanitizing stations throughout the venue. A lot of their filters have been changed to be hospital grade. So that's much more virus filtration of things than there would be in any other year. There's some really good stuff that they've done to make this safe, to bring back confidence and to keep everyone safe at the venue itself.
Yeah, so we're having a lot of conversations, obviously, with for ongoing conversations with the NEC, which we'll have a number more between now and the show. As we start to get those detailed plans, then we can start to put those in place and communicate them outwards.
Yeah. So there's folks in the chat talking about how they've already got their tickets and that kind of thing. If you haven't got a ticket yet, are they massively limited? Are there only 10 left? What's going on there?
Where we are at the present moment is there is a cap on the total tickets we will sell. We are keeping to a capacity number that has been given to us by the NEC, which is substantially less than we would normally have. All right, so 4,000-ish or something like that tickets a day. We are doing that because we want to make sure that anyone that gets a ticket can come to the show under the rules that we are operating under right now. The expectation is that those numbers will ease as we get those rules through, but right now we do have a limited capacity. Now the ticket sales went off like a bomb basically on Friday night and are doing very, very well. There are certainly tickets available at the moment, but they are going faster than in any previous year, which to me suggests there's a lot of energy out there. There's a lot of enthusiasm for coming to the expo and going to a games show. And that's good to see, really, because obviously you had a slight concern that if you switch on the thing and 2 tickets go through and that's it, then you're going to get one message. But the message we're getting at the moment is there's a lot of enthusiasm there. But we will stop selling tickets when we hit that cap until we get a bigger cap, basically, that we release them again. And
it's just expo tickets that are live right now. We haven't got tickets for the dark room or
no. So right now it is the event. The entry tickets are on sale, so you can get your 1, 2, 3 day tickets, family tickets. Young adults. Remembering that 11s under 11s are coming free anyway if they're accompanied by adults. and we allow, and people say, well, how do you know how many of them there are? We say, well, we know how many we've had in previous years. As Tony calls it, the dark art of estimation. There is a sort of guesstimate that you put into place, but we will allow an allotment for what is a reasonable expectation for the under 11s, but the rest of the tickets we can see going through, so we know where we are. But that's door tickets. That's getting into the show. The event tickets we're planning on getting on sale as soon as we can. In the next few weeks, certainly by June, we'll put those on sale. But obviously, one of the things that amongst this plan of which we've all got to do in 10 weeks, not 10 months, is to schedule things and to get events. So I've been talking to lots of people about that, so we might get back to what events we're running and things in a bit, but once we've got that schedule, we will then release the events.
Okay. And last year, like, I remember when we were going to do the physical show, and then we couldn't do the physical show, and then we moved the date, there was a thing where we could roll over tickets or hold them. How do I know what, because it was a while ago now, I've forgotten.
Yes. Yeah.
How do I know what I can do?
So what you had to do last year was actually to roll tickets over twice to still have them now, because there was a postponed show and then there was a cancelled show. So people who bought tickets for the first show, we said we will refund everybody who hasn't told us they want us to keep their money, basically keep their tickets. So people all came in and they rolled forward, but then they had to do that a second time when we cancelled the August show. So if you didn't do it twice, then you will have had a refund. Eventually, you track back through your bank statements, you'd find the thing. So the way you can find out is you go into your account and it will be there. There will be an order there. If it's not there, then you haven't got an order. Basically, you need to buy the tickets again.
The way you do this is if you go to the UK Games Expo website, and I've just put a link in the chat about how to log in. It's one of the buttons at the top on the right hand side if you're using a desktop of any sort, and it's the third button in, and it says log in or register. And you log into your account and it will show you, and it will say if you've got tickets there. If you can't see anything, you don't have tickets, you've not rolled them over. Okay?
Here we go. Look, we can see that.
Yeah.
Look, I don't have any tickets yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one.
So I'm logged in. I'm not really Medusa Games, but remember from last year when we were doing the Virtual Expo, I pretended to be Medusa Games so we could see some cool stuff. So I don't have any tickets yet. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Correct. So log in, have a look. If there's nothing there, you need to buy some tickets.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. So all the refunds are done. I don't need to check up and make sure they've been processed. I just need to have a look through my statements and I'll find it.
Yes, yeah, they were all automated long ago in 2 big batches, basically. And I think the second lot went out some point in, was it May, June time? I think, Kate, it was sometime like that anyway.
I think so.
Maybe months ago it will have happened.
All right. So other ways to attend Expo are perhaps volunteering and then maybe being an exhibitor. If I've not got in touch with you about that already, if I've not submitted the form, if I've not done the volunteering online, should I not? Is it too late?
No. I mean, for both things. I mean, if you want to come as a volunteer, they're still taking volunteer submissions. The volunteer processing of this is I know they're starting to do that now. The point was, of course, we still need to get some feel for exactly what show we're doing here in terms of the exact elements of it that are going to run. But we've now got a pretty firm idea of lots of that, and so the volunteer managers are chugging away, starting to allocate that. So if you want to volunteer, though, they'll still take submissions. And as regards exhibitors, I will certainly still have space in the trade hall. So just contact us through the exhibit button, which is next door to the button you were just clicking on there to see your account. There's a button that says exhibit, and in there you can get the exhibitor pack, and or else just email me, richard@ukgamesexpo.co.uk, and I will I'll happily talk to you about trade space and things.
What about things like being a GM for the RPGs? Can I?
Right. Yeah, well, that's part of event submission. So we put that live yesterday.
Yeah.
So on the web page there is are you able to bring the web page back up?
Yeah, hang on.
I'll show you where it is. So if you click on the word events at the top of the screen there, there'll be a pull down list, I think, from it.
And then I can run an event or rent an event space.
Right. So the rent and event space is basically for exhibitors who are wanting to rent, chunks of space to do events in. That's not relevant for GMs and sort of most people that just want to run an event. So you click on the running an event link there. What it does is there is we ask people to read through the page first. There's various FAQs that talk about, who to get in touch with. For seminars, that's you, Millie, and in RPGs is John Dodd, and I look after everything else in terms of the organised play. And then it will talk to you about, can you run it, how do you run it, how's it done, all that kind of thing. So read that FAQs, and then when you're ready to submit it, click the submit an event button there. And that'll take you to a form where you can submit your event. Now, in the case of role-playing games, you can go in and chuck it in, and that'll go through to John. He'll look and he'll get in touch with you. For tournaments, I prefer you to email me first, so I can have a conversation with you about the feasibilities of tournaments and everything, and then I'll get you to go back on there and put the event on. Yeah, so if you're a GM or wanting to be a GM to run a role-playing game, just go on and add your games, and John will get back to you and let you know what he wants to do.
I guess that leads us nicely. So there will be some tournaments and stuff happening at Expo this year.
Yes, there will. So role-playing games are happening. We needed to know what rules are likely to be in place, but as you need to be able to get 6-7 people around a table to play a role-playing game, and that now looks likely that you can be able to do that, or at least 6 people if the rule of 6 is applying. A GM and 5 players maybe. In terms of tournaments, again, that would imply that 4 people can sit around a table and play a board game such as Catan. We are. In fact, only 2 hours ago, I spoke to the Mind Sports Olympiad people, who you've had on the stream.
We spoke with those folks.
And they are all eager beavers to come in and run the tournaments they run for us. They run all the board game tournaments, and we were having a conversation about what tournaments we might run. And what the principle we normally do that is we have a look and see what ran before, how well they ran, and we think if there's anything new we might want to throw at it. But certainly the regulars of Catan, Carcassonne, Days of Wonder, Seven Wonders, and Ticket to Ride, to name a few, are likely to run. We are waiting to see whether or not some of these tournaments will be qualifiers for world events, but they'll certainly be run. If not them, they'll certainly be informally run as an unofficial championship, which we'll run ourselves. So board game tournaments are going to be happening. I'm quite happy to talk to anyone else that has a particular one they want to run. Get in touch. Miniatures, we've got likewise. So far, I think we've got Imperial Assault as a community-based Imperial Assault tournament. But again, happy to discuss any tournaments. We've got plenty of space for these to go in. So just get in touch, and we'll start to put those together.
Nice.
And this could actually be an opportunity if you've not run an event before, or maybe you've run an event virtually over the last year or so. If you've had interest in things, then please let us know. If you've not run a physical one before, but you've even run a virtual one, let us know. We'll be happy to look at running a live physical version of the tournament or the event that you've been doing online, because it's been a really nice way of people to get their teeth into things, and maybe this is the step to actually bring it to the show and bring it to the expo this year.
If you've got an idea, just email it in and we'll talk to you.
Please, be good.
Yeah, that's really cool. I would sort of tentatively ask about some, but I know the answer with that kind of thing. But stuff like seminars, the publisher designer track we do, and those kind of things, they're all happening as well.
Yes, we are. I mean, what we're doing with the seminars is obviously your department, Millie. We'll be running some of these. We're open to having suggestions for the sort of workshop level, smaller seminars and things, which will probably run in what was Cartamundi Theatre in the Piazza rooms. So that's a smaller space for sort of events of 50-ish to maybe 100 people. The Toot Suite, which is our main room, which you normally have the big tournaments, big seminars in, is available. That'll probably be mainly used this year for live entertainment shows. but there may be one or two, other things in there as well. As we have conversations with guests and things that are coming to the show, we'll see if there's one or two which we think will be a popular, draw to pop in there, and the people might want to come and see and ask questions of.
And they're going to run the open gaming. From when we sort of think everybody should be in bed, we might not run the dark room after 3 a.m. please, kind of thing. They're going to run all across the show. They're not just going to be because the halls has to close because the exhibitors have to eat and sleep.
Yes, they. So the live entertainment will run. We will have some things in the afternoon which are more orientated around perhaps the family audience. So Tom Crosby, who, if anyone hasn't seen his show, is unbelievable with Rubik's cubes. Absolutely genius, maths genius, card playing, memory games, and anything with Rubik's cubes. You can make pictures out of them. You can, do them in an instant and things. And
he's a thoroughly nice chap. So if
is,
you end up chatting to him, he's absolutely wonderful, really lovely.
Yeah, so that's he's he's up for coming back. John Robertson of the Dark Room, he's very much up for coming and being at the show. We haven't quite worked out how late we'll let him go. I think we'll try and cut him off before 4 a.m. this time. But
this is only because we lose our capacity from our volunteers. They're all a little bit spangled the next day.
They are. So we'll probably have a dark room on both evenings. And John may well be a guest potentially with Ian Livingston, Fighting Fantasy fame, who they did a really popular event 2-3 years ago, live action reading through of I think it was Death Trap Dungeon.
Death Trap Dungeon with Darren's son.
Yeah.
And a harmonica and giant dice, and it was easily one of the most chaotic seminars I've ever ran. And that's saying something about the quiz we ran. Remember, when was it? 5 years ago, and the seminars were in the corner of Hall 1.
That's right.
And we had this absolutely balmy quiz, sci-fi versus fantasy. The Stig was involved, all the cosplay. That was chaotic. This one beat that for just. I think on Tabletop have a little video of it if you want to see what we're talking about.
If you follow Ian Livingston on Twitter, he posted a link to it only 2 or 3 days ago on his Twitter stream, a video of it, and that was pretty good. So so there's that, and then we've also been talking to Jolly Boat, who do their sort of music and pirate themed music things, and who else is there? Paul Flannery. He does 2 shows. The what was called MMORPG, so massively multiplayer online role-playing game, which I think has now got a new name, something like I think it's Questiny or something like that, which is a role-playing game where the audience participation runs the adventure, and the players come on stage and have superpowers. And they're really sort of chosen by the players and also the audience chuck things in. So I think one game I saw at the Fringe was someone who was a snail who believed he was a slug, or somebody else who could be invisible but only to himself, and crazy things like that. So that's a fun game. And the other one they do is Nightmare Live. So if you've ever seen the cult TV show way back in the 80s, Nightmare Live, how exactly what the schedule will be depends on the capacity we're allowed to run in that space, because that tells us what our queues are. Sorry, not queues, but the capacity numbers and audience numbers, and therefore what ticket sales we can do, what we can pay the guys, this sort of thing. So that would determine what is feasible to run. But we will start releasing a schedule fairly soon on that.
But it's all going to happen in that kind of way. All good. I'm excited. Also like kind of thing. Ian and John on the same stage is just an experience.
Yes, they are really good. Really good together.
I've just posted the Twitter link in the chat, so have a watch of that afterwards. It's well worth it.
You mentioned publisher designer.
A little bit like
Yeah, so yes, we are doing a publisher designer track. We playtest. If you go to the Playtest UK's page, which you can get to from our playtest page, they're already posted that they're going to be putting live a what's it called, application form to get a table in the playtest zone. The playtest zone will be spread out again. We'll make it more spacious to allow for a bit of distancing between the tables and things. But they're up for running, playtesting. So if you've got a game design you're working on that's at that kind of prototype stage, and you want feedback from people, then you can book a slot, either I think 3 hours or half a day or a day or something slot. For a small donation to sort of charity, and that gets you on the table, for a bit of time, and they get feedback. That's happening. We are looking to do the speed dating, which is I might need to explain that. So, publisher designer speed dating, which so I am a designer. I've got a game, and I want to pitch this to a publisher to try and get a publisher to make the game. Basically, so you can apply through the website. We'll put the forms on in the next few days, and you'll be able to send in sell sheets which tell people what the game's like, and what it's about, and the publishers will select from the applications a number to come on, almost like a Dragon's Den pitch sort of style. And this will probably go back to being the real world one. Last year we did it in the virtual environment in a Zoom thing, but this will be back to spread out around a room with tables, and the designers are on the tables, and the publishers move on from between tables with a bell ringing every 5 minutes. So that will be running, and a good chance, and we know that more or less every year some design will get picked up by one or two of the publishers that way. So it's well worth having a punt with your design idea. And there may be some other elements in the publisher designer track as well, as and when we know what the rules are, and we've had ongoing conversations with people. The popular event is the networking event, where publishers, designers, and people like that get together and have a bit of a chat, and there's a few small mini presentations. We've got to work out what our social distancing rules are to see if that's feasible or not. But there's a hope that we'll be able to run that as well.
Cool.
And all of these are very friendly. I know that we've mentioned Dragon's Den there, but actually, even if games don't get picked up, the feedback we've had is that the designers often get some really good feedback from these different publishers saying, I like this, but maybe this doesn't work, or maybe if you tweak this. So it's a really friendly and welcoming atmosphere in which to pitch your game. And all of our publishers, they've been there. They've started. The majority of them have started as like small cakes, and then gone on to build these publishing companies, which is tremendous. So they get it. They have good feedback, and they're also very friendly and helpful. So it's a very good experience. Lots of energy required for that one though, because it's kind of like pitch a game for 5 minutes, half a second's break, pitch a game for 5 minutes, different set of people, lots of questions, but it's for a reasonably short space of time. But it was really, really good when we ran it back in, so 2019 was the first time I'd ran it, and it was very, very good energy, and lots of positive things came from it. So well worth looking at the speed dating.
What about things like every year where we publish like a new to play, new to try, new to buy, that kind of stuff? Are we still doing that this year?
Yep, so we've just put out the call to the exhibitors to start entering that data. We've already actually had, it's live already actually, so there's already some entries where some eager beavers have already got in there and put their games on. So the idea of this is that if you have a game which is a new to buy, it means that it's got to be available for purchase for the first time at a UK show. We've been a little bit flexible about this one this year because it's been such a rubbish year, and virtual this and virtual that and everything. So what we're saying is, providing this is the first time you can walk into a convention in the UK and pick it up and buy it, then we'll accept that as new to buy. We want it to be this is now a chance to buy something that you're not been able to pick up at a show before, sort of thing. Then there's new to try. So these are prototype games, I think, which are the ones that you're trying to get feedback on. A lot of publishers will put a prototype table or two into their space, and you can give them feedback on their games. New to play, I think, is a production level game which isn't yet on sale. And that sometimes happens. The game's not quite ready for sale yet, but here's the finished version, and this is the first chance you get to play this game. you know. And then what's the final one? New to back, isn't it? Well, we very much encourage Kickstarter campaigns to be happening during the shows. As a good way of getting traction and interest in your Kickstarter campaign. So that's the new to back option. So you'll find that in your exhibitor portal, exhibitors will, and that will ultimately be on a page on the website. We're planning on getting that up from about June time, okay?
Yeah, we're going to do it 1st of June. The page is up there now, but we've just got we've actually got the Medusa game on there, which I think is brilliant. But I've been helping playtest it, the monsters. This will be populated. The big thing about all these pages, whether it's exhibitors, whether it's new games, all of them, they will keep being added to as we get closer to the show, as people say, oh, actually, we've got this in, so now we can show it at the expo. We've managed to get these things in, so we can do it. Or, you know what, let's go and book and actually get into the show. So please do keep looking back at these things. They are an increasing feast rather than a movable one. And there will be more and more on there the closer we get to the show.
And what about like the UK Games Expo awards? We're doing that again this year, yeah?
We are. So the awards games are already starting to be distributed out. In fact, the deadline for publishers to get their games to us is the 20th, which is only 8 days away now. So if you've not got yourself organised, guys, get on with it and get your games in. But we've already started sending the games out to the judges all over the place. Nice. And they will start judging those. And from that, a shortlist of 3 in each of the categories will be released sometime in July. I can't remember the exact dates, about the 10th or 14th of July, that people then will know what the shortlist is, and the public will be able to vote on those as they've done previously, at the show, and make a contribution. So there is a judges award winner and a People's Choice award winner as well from the shortlist. That's always great fun, and always good fun as well to be handing out the awards on the Sunday afternoon, and to be able to do that in the real world. We had a sort of Oscar ceremony online thing last year, didn't we? Which actually went pretty well. Lots of flashy videos and things. Yeah, it was.
It's gorgeous graphics, very lovely.
Very stressful.
But to be able to actually hand over trophies in the real world and things will be great.
Absolutely awesome. So 30th of July to the 1st of August then. It's all going ahead.
Yeah,
it is indeed.
Absolutely.
I should also mention we checking if there's anything else on this list. So your Family Zone, so Imagination Gaming, who they are not only have been doing the Family Zone of the Expo since the 2nd or 3rd year of the whole thing way back in the Cloud and Suite days, but also going to schools and do all these game days, and so they've been having to live through the whole pandemic and all the rules and regulations and how to do safe and environments for doing family friendly games and so forth. So they've already had lots of ideas for laying out their zone and doing stuff there. They'll be back and they'll be running the Family Zone. So families will have things. There'll be plenty of other things anyway, the family friendly exhibitors, and we may run some of the other things we do, like the treasure hunt perhaps. And other things, but the Family Zone is definitely part of the show this year.
As is merchandise. We've just been asked about merchandise. There is definitely merchandise. We have our T-shirt. It's available in an amazing variety of colours, as long as those colours are black. Yep. And it's actually, we're really pleased with the design of it. This year, our Matthew Comden, who was a sort of fairly permanent fixture for us in terms of design, but went off to have a real job with the events industry. Obviously, this year, where the events industry has been, let's say, kicked in the pants a little bit, just came up with this gorgeous design for the T-shirt, and it'll also be available as dice rolling trays and dice bags and things. So
we're looking at the exact sort of things. We know for definite we're doing trays, we think, and also T-shirts and badges. The souvenir badges most likely. We'll be looking to put these together in the course of this month and get them on sale. Again, like everything else, it'll be as soon as we can get it all organised in the next few weeks. It'll go on sale. We'll announce it. You'll be able to pre-order your items and collect them at the merchandise stand, which will be just inside the entrance of Hall 2. Just as you go in, they'll be there. And we'll have stock from previous years. So if you missed out on that T-shirt from 3 years ago, you might be able to pick it up. So
Or you need your toilet paper dragon, then from 2020.
Yes.
Yes.
Grab him from the merch
that.
shop.
I love that update to that one. That was brilliant. Good on you, Ralph. So where can we, because things are changing. We talked earlier about how we need to just keep up to date with the event research program, the ERP. Where is the best place to get info and find out what's the next step or that kind of thing?
The best thing is actually the front page. The front page of the UK Games Expo site has everything on it. So you want to get to anything, you want to log in, you want to check all of your stuff, go there. If you need tickets, big button on the top right hand side. If you want to exhibit, button next to it in the middle. If you want to log in and check your ticket status of any sort, then you want to press the button to the left of that. It'll either tell you your name on there or it'll have a login thing. That's also where you register an account. It has our countdown timer, 79 days to go. It tells you where it is, all that kind of stuff. And if you scroll down, it's got the general planning of events. This is where your latest news is. Whatever we do, we will put the news directly on the front page. So that's one of your first ports of call. Another way to ensure you get the information is if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can sign up. Stay informed, sign up to our newsletter. There are a lot of people on this and we often get questions and things via the newsletter as well. It's a really nice way of immediately having it into your inbox. The other thing is that we do not spam you. That is the big thing with Expo. On the lead up to the show, you might get an email once a day. But for the rest of the time, if it's a general interest in things, we very, very much value our audience and we want to keep you informed, not hit you with a load of nonsense. So everything is always gaming related.
One of the things we don't do is we don't sell these lists to anyone. So we're all getting our emails at the moment, offering to sellers the list for the Expo. Including the one that should have happened in June.
Yes, that was especially good.
I can tell them how many people are on that list.
Yeah. now and then when Tony is of a mind, he'll actually phone these folks up and then try and order all sorts of things and ask for demographics and blah, blah, blah. Mostly because it was like, well how do you know all that? Because we don't have that information. We don't. We have a name that you give us, even if it's Mr. Bear. We have an email address, even if that's Darth Moth Badger. And that's all we know about you.
And we don't send that to anybody at all.
Don't send it.
That's awesome. It's awesome. I was laughing then, which made me forget my point.
That's all right. Yes. Also, social media. Find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Please tell me if I've done a typo. I have a team of folk who's like, Kate, it's not how it's like, oh. I have, however, got glasses in the last 3 months, which are helping immensely with things like that. So thank you very much for your patience. But yes, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, our news pages and the front page of the Expo. Check in on Twitch now and then. If we've got more things to say, we will definitely be back here to be able to let everyone know what's happening.
This was my question. If I've got a question, am I best to tweet a people or should I just make sure it's not covered off? What should I do?
So we have a ton of frequently asked questions. So I would suggest the first thing you do is go to the website. There's a nice search bar. Type in the start of your question or the subject of your question, and you can absolutely see if we've covered it there. Otherwise, on the top bar, there is a Contact Us button. This will give you our details, email addresses of who to speak to about what. Please get in touch via the website. We do check Facebook, we do check Twitter, we do check Instagram. It's much, much better and easier to get a response from the Contact Us form from the website. So, yes.
But just to emphasise again that in terms of the exact rules and that will apply to the show and tests and all that sort of thing, that's going to come down to the event research programme's outcome, the Public Health England's announcements. So the definitive set of rules will be published by us and will be on the site. Once we've got those. So no particular point. Keep on asking that same question about: do I need a test? How do I get a test? How many tests do I need? What do I do if I'm a doctor or can I do my own or anything like that?
What if I'm fully vaccinated? What if
right.
I'm not vaccinated?
We will tell you exactly what the rules are when we know what they are.
Yes.
Yeah. and they will be published hopefully in the next few weeks. We'll know that, and certainly, more than 6 weeks or something like that before the show, we should be in a position to say this is now the definitive set of rules that we will run the show under. And
after the 21st of June, I think that's the big marker for us to see what's going on.
Which is something like 5 weeks before Expo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's been really cool to find out all this stuff. It's been really awesome to have a chat with you, Richard. Like I was saying, if you do have questions, first give us a check on the website. There's loads that's already been covered off, and normally you don't notice them, but this year they're really getting the hits comparatively and the clicks. We will share more and more information on the social medias, but do sign up for the newsletter, because then you'll get it straight away. And it's easy to find. Like, I scroll through lots of Facebook pages trying to find things, and it gets lost and that kind of stuff. It's in your emails. You can just check. You can just search for it there. And if we have more time for chats, because there's only 79 days to go, so it might not be any more time spare.
Well, we may be back with a few more of these if once we've got definitive things to say and further news to share. We may well do another one of these to see if we can answer those precise questions once we've got them in our head as well.
Awesome.
Yeah. In the interim, tell people we've got tickets. We're running a live show. It's going to be great.
Yeah, get your tickets now. But yeah, thanks for joining us, Richard. It is 13:58, which means it's time to go and have some lunch before my tummy makes a big rumble on air. But it's been great to chat with you and find out all the gossip, all the details.
Great,
and we'll be back soon, folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.